Hello. Here is a nice, easy, relaxing video. If you like to organize things, you can watch me organize my racks, getting ready to take them to teach. I was preparing for 8 students, so I was preparing 8 racks. This is what I do to make it very easy and streamlined when we sit down for Mahjong 101. I like to have my racks already set up with examples of all the suits. And you'll see how I do it in a moment. And the way I transport them is in those little plastic sleeves that you just saw me showing. That way I can get there and lay the racks out and be ready. If I've had, it just happened one time, the way the schedule went, I had no choice but to sit down at the venue and organize the racks, and that was a nightmare because people were stopping to talk, people wanted to help, but they didn't know how to help. It was awkward. So I do this at home, and in this video, I've already done 4. Well, I didn't record the first 4, but I've already done 4, and I set these out, and I thought, let's bring some people along for the ride. And you will see how I do this. I set up an example of every suit, and I utilize the sloped portion of the rack, and I also utilize the exposure table. Credit goes to Sarah for that phrase. I've never ever heard anybody else refer to that as an exposure table. And very first thing I do in a class is I say, here's your rack. There's 3 components to a rack: the sloped portion, the exposure table, and then I yank off the pusher so they can see it's magnetized, and the pusher. You can see on the exposure table on the left I have an example of dots, no specific number, just in numerical order, just 3 random dots, and I put the matching dragon. And there's that one on the first rack. Moving to the center, I put an example of BAMs, like I just did. Again, no exact number, just random numbers, but in order. If you hang in here for the 15 minutes, when we get to the very end, I will tell you what happened to these racks at class. You may like to hear this. And on the right side of the exposure table, I have examples of cracks. No specific cracks, just a random 3 tiles in numerical order. Found that green dragon, just put him with the bamboos. Gonna need my red dragon, and you can see I'm doing 4 racks at one time. I'm reaching in the bag and just grabbing a handful and putting them where they go. That gets to a point where I've got all the cracks I need, and so I just put those aside, and all the BAMs and blah blah blah. Actually, 2 things happened. 2 things happened. Class was great. 8 people signed up and 6 people showed up. I had 4 at one table and 2 at another. At the other table, it was 2 women, both with the same name, absolute darling women. And both of them I've met up with additionally for practices. But at the other table, one did something. Can't wait to tell you. Now, on the sloped portion, on the far left of the sloped portion, I put an example of the winds. This is a north wind, an east, a west, a south. And I've only been asked one time, why is it put in news order to spell the word news? And I told them I really don't know, other than maybe it helps to spell out the word. I don't know, because I always learned when I was learning my directions to say the acronym never eat shredded wheat. North up, east to the right, south down, west to the left, and you make a circle and you say never eat shredded wheat. So I don't know. And even when I put them in news order, I'm saying never eat shredded wheat. It's dumb. I don't know why. It's so dumb. So I'll go ahead and tell you one of the things that happened. We got well past learning the tiles. I had them knock them all into the center of the table, mix them up. I showed them how to form the walls. I let them know that the wall is not your wall. It's just in front of your rack because it's out of the way of play. That's the only reason why it's there. So if you have blanks, it's 20 over 20. If you don't have blanks, it's 19 over 19. And I always tell them, when you first sit down to play and you line up your wall along your rack, put your fingers on the end and touch them and look and see exactly where the tiles meet your rack left and right. These particular tiles, this particular set of racks, when I line up 19 over 19, it is the exact width of the rack. I tell them, when you do that, when you go to mix them up and stack again, you won't have to count. You just stack them the width. There's some racks that are 20 inches wide, and when you use those, no matter what tiles you use, the tiles are going to be like one knuckle in on either side. Moving on, the sloped portion of the rack in the center. So far, I only have a couple. I was filling out the fourth one in the back first, so that as I got to be done, I wouldn't be stretching out all the time. But in the center, on the exposure portion, is an example of flowers. And I just put 2 on there. And I told them, in this traditional set, it is a flower, regardless of number or season. Just because it says spring, autumn, all that. What am I doing here? I'm showing y'all something here. I'm showing flowers. Oh, I'm just counting to see what I got left to go. But in the center of the slope portion, I put flowers. To the right of that, it's not fully formed yet. You see on the very far rack, it is. I have a bird bam, a 2 bam, a 3 bam. That is so they can see what the bird bam is and what it looks like in conjunction with the rest of the tiles. 1, 2, 3 bam. And on the far right of the sloped portion, I have an example of a 1 dot and a joker as a visual aid to not get them confused like I do. I've done it so many times, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'll get ready to Mahjong when I'm like, oh my God, that's 2 1 dots. It's not 2 jokers. So the awful thing that happened was, when table with the 4 people at it put 2 4 bams side by side and said, look, they're different. I was shocked. I'd never noticed it before. Like, how did we never notice that before? And going through them, putting 2 tiles, the same tiles side by side, one, they were fat, and the other, they were slim, little sticks, bamboos. Some of the numbers in the top left were thick, and some were thin. I was so freaked out. I'm like, I've had these tiles for years, and I never noticed it. I'm like, I know I didn't get these mixed up because I had one set in the bag always, and I had the other set in the box. So I was just at a loss. And then I figured it out. I went home and I audited both of them side by side together. And I realized, you see that green bag to the left, and I'm pulling them out? When I pulled out what I needed for the racks, everything that was left over, I left in the bag. Same with the one that comes in a box. They were all in the white racks. The extras was in the box. I put the wood racks on one table, the white racks on another, and then switched up accidentally the extras. So no harm, no foul, but it took me well over an hour to get them straightened out. I can't remember how long this video is. I think it's 15 minutes. We've got less than 5 minutes to go. Almost done with it. Very, very peaceful thing to do, to sit here and sort these racks. And then when I'm done, I just slip them inside these sleeves. The sleeves, Oh, excuse me. I took 2 sleep aids because it is 10 p.m. on Saturday night and I have to get up at 4 a.m. and take a 5-hour drive to Fredericksburg. So once I finish doing this little redneck voiceover, I am going to turn the light off and go to sleep because I am laying in my bed looking at my video, doing my voiceover. So when you get your racks, when you buy racks, I own 3 sets and they didn't cost nothing. Trust me, I can't afford the good ones. I don't have the $100 acrylic racks. Trust me. Um, they come in these little plastic sleeves, and I used to have 12 because I have 3 sets of racks, and I now have 4 because my bestie, who is a doll and I love her to death, and she does everything she can to help me, thought she was helping me at the Mahjong fundraiser when she saw these plastic sleeves lying all over a table, and she did me a favor and threw them away. Love her to death. She can do no wrong. We just kept it rolling, and I managed to get some more from somebody, and I'm good now. I'm set to rights now. Matter of fact, just today, I got my 4th rack today. A beautiful blue wood rack. It's wonderful. Very inexpensive. My group makes a group bulk order from Alibaba. Very, very good price. And she gave me a box full of the extra sleeves. So I've got plenty going forward. I've got plenty. I may show you how I put it in just one sleeve and then call it a day. Sarah, also known as Countess Bianca on TikTok, love you. I'm ready to go to bed because I have 2 of the old school. Remember Unisom? Almost 10 years ago? No, 10 years ago, almost exactly. My father passed away. And he decided one day that nothing was going to put him to sleep except Unisom because he used to use Unisom and knew it was good. And so Sarah had to get on Amazon and find a rogue vendor that still had Unisom. And 10 years later, I still have a bottle and it's working. And you know how I know it's working? I'll tell you how you know it's working because I'm slurring my words and I'm getting the giggles. So it's very gently helping me go to sleep, which is great. So I'm putting the leftovers in the bag. I see now that all 4 racks has an example of all 3 suits with the matching dragon, an example of the winds, example of the flowers, the 1, 2, 3 bird bam, 1 dot, and joker. And you see my right hand moving tiles into the bag. And I'm going to let you see how I slip one into the. What I did was I slipped all 8 racks into a little plastic sleeve. And once I got to the tea room, which is where the class was, all I did was slide it out of the rack and lay it on the table. It was wonderful. It worked wonderful. I've done this about 4 times now. It works wonderful. There's my sleeves. There they are. So I'll go ahead and tell you what the awful thing was that happened. This woman, I adore her. She is a gem. Love her to death. I could never be angry at her. So terrible. So you see how long it took me to do this, right? Well, multiply it because I did it twice. I did it for 8 racks. So I had them laid out on all tables. And I just started to do my explanation. I looked over and I'm like, why are all the tiles in a pile in the center of the table? She thought she was helping me. And before class even started, she knocked them all off the rack and put them in a pile in the center of the table. I was just bewildered. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Yeah, I slapped my forehead a few times. And she was mortified. But again, what a sweetheart. She really thought she was helping me. She did not recognize that they were, I'm losing my words, that they were specific order. And she must have forgot that just a couple weeks before I had done the same lesson for her. So this is going to cut off any second. I don't know. So when I was done, I laid all 8 racks in the bottom of my wagon, and it works perfectly. So I'll be back and let y'all know how my Fredericksburg trip went. I'm pointing out to my 2 mats I'm going to take, my extras of tiles, and I'm shutting it down. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Oh, there I am. Bye.